All right, everyone. Number one stupid establishment story of the day. I've got several of them, so it's going to be a fun morning for me because that's like my favorite thing to talk about is how just dumb people in the establishment really have become. They're so complacent, so lazy that over the years there's like so much incriminating stuff on all of them. It seems at this point because they were in positions of power. No one was challenging them, so they're like, oh, I can get away with stuff. Nobody really cares. Now, the social justice warrior bandwagon effect that they helped to promulgate has come back to roost in their own dirty nest, and it's really, really screwing them up. Case in point for yesterday, Chris Matthews. The footage of him and the look on the woman's face, by the way, behind like the dude he's talking to at the time was priceless. He was about to talk to Hillary Clinton, I guess. And he makes a joke, oh, where did I put that Cosby pill when he's, getting the water, I guess, delivered there for the interview. The woman behind the dude he was talking to all of a sudden looks totally awestruck and then goes off camera, like her eyes bulge out. She's like left with her mouth agape at hearing Chris Matthews say this. This is probably pretty normal behavior, though, in all honesty. Like, Chris Matthews, you can single him out because you've got, like, a video of him actually doing something like that. But let's face it, most of these big, heavy-hitting pundits probably do similar things. Maybe not Bill Cosby rape pill jokes, like lewds or whatever, or roofies. Maybe not that, but I'm sure in private. In their private parties, they get a few drinks into them, and they're telling all sorts of bawdy jokes. They sexually harass one another regularly. It's just what happens when you get people into a position like that. There was an old tale from years ago. I can't remember who was saying it. I think it was a former employee. It was like, oh yeah, every desk at the BBC is full of cocaine, basically. I wouldn't be surprised. You've got to understand, you get people in an urban, like, party-friendly environment, you give them 7-figure salaries and all sorts of fans and stroke their ego every day, tell them they're great. And have people, half their age at their beck and call. What the hell do you think is going to happen in such a situation? The thing is, Chris Matthews is a funny example as well. It's really funny because he's an MSNBC figure. It's not like, if this happens for Fox News, Bill O'Reilly said something off color, did something off. He tried to kiss some chick, apparently, at one point, then settled it out of court. Bill O'Reilly gets raked over the coals. And I'm not defending O'Reilly because, he's a shitfuck, honestly. So O'Reilly gets booted out because of his infidelity, which apparently never involved physically assaulting anybody. It was just him being creepy and weird, hitting on people creepily, and, I guess, late-night drunk dialing them and stuff. Which is, that's sort of, he's like a smelly, sort of creepy dude. Maybe not on the rapacious side so much as that he just doesn't know what the hell he's doing side. And so he comes off as creepy on a consistent basis. Probably still does. He's still Bill O'Reilly. He gets booted off and basically labeled a pariah, has to do like the podcast thing. Chris Matthews apparently is going to skate by saying, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry that I joked about raping the former first lady that I'm about to interview. I'm sorry that I joked about slipping a roofie to someone who's trying to become the president of the United States on MSNBC, no less. Now, the only saving grace, of course, is that the MSNBC audience, they'll probably cry bloody murder for quite some time. He may end up actually getting suspenders. I'll have to check the news. It could be that he's already been suspended as of today. Yesterday, I think he had just apologized. So if I'm wrong on that, don't jump down my throat. I'll check it later. But it's no big deal. Him telling that joke, it may not particularly offend me, except I can see the hypocrisy because imagine that some alt media figure scored an interview with some politician or something, especially a female politician, made a joke like that. Oh my God, can you imagine the vigilantism that there would be present? It'd be insane. It would be an absolute firestorm. Every social justice warrior would take up arms and declare them to be the next Hitler. But because it's Chris Matthews, because he's on MSNBC and he's a legacy media personality that makes millions every year and he's old and stumbly and stuff, I guess it doesn't matter as much. Well, I see the hypocrisy there. See, the legacy media has to stoke the flames of a moral outrage. So if the legacy media itself is what caused the moral outrage, yeah, they can get off more easily. Unless it's someone that they really, really don't like a Bill O'Reilly, because I guess he said halfway decent things about Trump occasionally. Like with Hannity, they tried to crucify him too. He managed to maintain his job because he's like, well, I didn't do anything wrong, so fuck you, basically. And just think, Fox is still establishment. Just imagine what they would do to the actual alt media. Just imagine look at what they do to Breitbart on a regular basis. They're part of the missing link media. By the way, that's a new term we need to start using for groups like Breitbart, Drudge, maybe even like a Vox or a Gawker. Groups that are not independent, they are technically business and corporatized, but at the same time, they're not part of the true old guard of the media. They're not from several decades ago. They're from, like, in most cases, they're like 2000s era, like standalone website style news that we got cropping up before the social media era. It's the missing link media. It's semi-autonomous, and so it can be worse because people give them a pass more easily, like a Young Turk sort of situation. People give them a pass on bad behavior more readily than the old guard corporate media even, but at the same time they are just potentially as corrupt. So it's funny to see Chris Matthews make this joke, but seriously, look at the footage of him. And it's more noteworthy to look at the woman behind the dude he's talking to, because her reaction is priceless. Because you can tell that she's not just offended, but she can't believe what she's hearing. She can't believe that somebody, I guess, from MSNBC would actually have that sense of humor. I assure you that more people in the legacy media than not do. That's just human nature. Again, you get people with big egos. If somebody's willing to sit up in front of millions of people for their $1 million salary, they have the penthouse, they have the limo, they have that kind of lifestyle, they're obviously showing off a little bit. That indicates a form of brutish egotism. It's not so much, by the way, that they're distributing information at all. It's barely an activity of the press, what they do now at this point. It's really just opinion and personality. They essentially choose people to go up in front of the camera based on their physical appearance. Fox is notorious for doing that. I wonder if people realize MSNBC does the same thing. Of course they do. Why do you think they wear certain types of clothing? Why do you think the dudes on there, they have to wear the suit and tie? They're not allowed to go in and be semi-formal at work. No, they have to look like the Manhattan businessman or an FBI member or something. They're very professional. But what are they projecting by doing that? There's a very good reason why they do. It's a form of mind control in a way. It's actually kind of a form of propaganda in and of itself. It's an interesting topic you can think about. But Chris Matthews, no, he shouldn't just skate by saying sorry, because MSNBC itself would absolutely lambaste anybody in the alt media. If I made a joke like this I'm going to interview Phil Scott and I'm going to make this joke, it would be like front page news probably. It'd say, this is just evidence of the systemic problems of YouTube, the systemic problem that we've got too much liberty, we need to censor people, and people should be like deplatformed and stuff because this is horrible. Chris Matthews does it, it was a while ago, he apologized, yeah, it's a bad joke, but it was just, he would never actually do that. How do you know? Are you part of Chris Matthews' personal life? Do you follow him around into the toilet every day? I don't think so. I don't think that you know what his shit smells like, unless he has a bunch of burritos and then you happen to be the next one using his corporate bathroom. His private bathroom, probably. You don't know anything about his personal life. He could be totally rapacious for all you know. You don't know him personally, most of you. And those that do, maybe they would confirm, but they're not going to say anything because they're in on it too. Personally, I'm not morally offended by his joke. It's not that. It's the hypocrisy that I see. Especially when a person's on MSNBC. MSNBC, above all other networks except maybe CNN at this point, is the one that really should be reacting more. But they don't want to get rid of Chris Matthews. He's a heavy hitter. They'd lose a lot of people watching MSNBC if they did. Be handing #1 back to Fox on a permanent basis for a while. That's about all. Peace out.